Skirt, skirt. Told you we always been ready. I don't need people that's petty, that weigh on me heavy while I'm being steady. I need a record with Felly. We get it bouncing like Betty's, I feel like I'm Nelly. Don't bring the beef like a deli. It's leaving I levy, no sleeping on me like I'm Freddy. Chris Breeze, how I do, hit him with the moves. Left hand step back, ballin' like I'm Coos. All faith, God's plan, you just gotta choose. God slaps, nothing left to prove. Y'all gotta leave me alone. Lately I've been in my zone. Told them no cap like I fitted, but lately the flows have been straight off the dome. I feel like I'm MVP, like my name Patty Mahomes. If it ain't about money, don't hit on my phone, cause lately I've been in my zone.
Hello, welcome to the Cowboy Show, hosted by Ben Carey and Nick Gronerad, combining expert human opinions with cutting-edge simulation models to help you arrive at the best picks each week. Inside Edge Community. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to today's stream. It's an early NFL morning today. As I'm sure many of you are aware of, we have a game underway already in London between the Jets and the Falcons. So that game, not going to be part of today's coverage, probably for the best based on how it looks. But we do have
Nick, real quick, I was just going to say, I'm going through Twitter and people are like, what's going on with these fumbles? What's wrong with the footballs in this game?
Yeah, well, I mean, are they using like English footballs, soccer balls?
Soccer balls? Who knows? I'm not watching, so could be.
Yeah, it could be. So we still have 13 games today, as opposed to the usual 14 that we've had the previous few weeks. So you ready to just hop into it?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right. So game number 1, we have Jacoby Brissett and the Miami Dolphins going on the road to Tampa Bay. Not that big of a road trip, but it is a road game for them. Tampa, 11-point favorites at home. Over-under set at 48.
Well,
Thoughts?
You know, at first I was leaning towards the Bucs in this one, but I like the Dolphins in the spot. I think 10 points is a decent amount, and I also think that defense of the Miami Dolphins can get them a few stops when need be, and I think conversely the defense on the other side of the ball, or for the Bucs, right? They've just been struggling, and you know, Jacoby Brissett, very serviceable, but you know, I think at times they'll be able to get some drives going, and I think 10 points is something that they can cover in this spot.
Yeah, and it's up to 11 now, so it's even an extra point.
Oh, wow.
That the Dolphins are getting. But yeah, so the model has this one as a 30-26 game about for Tampa. So it definitely likes Miami to cover. It also likes the over. And I think, like you're saying, I think it kind of comes down to Tampa's defense. So we know that the run D for Tampa is elite. It's either the best in the league or the second best in the league, depending on how you rate them and the Saints. I think those are definitely the top two. But teams, it doesn't really matter who it is, have been able to pass the ball on Tampa. And Jacoby Brissett, not the best quarterback, but still, I think Miami will do enough offensively. I think the defense will be able to get, like you said, maybe force a turnover, get a stop, hold them to a field goal, whatever it is. I like Miami to cover here as well. Any thoughts on the total?
I've gone back and forth on the total. I think it's a pretty tight number in my opinion. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, so the model likes the over quite a bit. Again, it's got it at 56 compared to the Vegas total of 48. I do think that that's a little bit high. then again, it definitely could be an up-tempo type of game where we see just defense is not able to get stops.
Yeah, kind of turns into a scenario maybe we saw with the Falcons and Bucks.
Yeah. So I'll go ahead and throw down Miami to cover as a lean. We can abstain from the total.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's a good way to go about that one.
All right. So next up, we've got who do we got? We got Philly and Carolina. Carolina 2.5 point favorites at home. Over under set at 46. I think this one had been sitting at like 3.5 for most of the week.
Mm-hmm.
I think just this morning, even this has dropped from Carolina -3 to Carolina -2.5. So what are your thoughts on this game and on that line move?
Well, the line move most likely due to Chris McCaffrey being put in the lineup, correct?
No, McCaffrey's out.
He is out. Okay. Well, then, are you sure?
Yes.
I trust you. Okay.
I think.
Interesting.
Yeah, McCaffrey is inactive.
Okay. He's inactive. Well, then that line move's really interesting then.
It might add, so I did this, I think, before McCaffrey was confirmed out.
Mm-hmm.
I did this like half an hour ago. So it's definitely possible that this line is actually back up to -3. Let me look.
Let's take a look. Because it was hovering around 3, and then it was 3.5, and then McCaffrey.
I'm still showing 2.5. So I see a 3 on FanDuel and a 3 on Caesars, but 2.5s everywhere else.
I think my lean is with the Eagles, but definitely just I have questions, I guess. I'm not too confident in this one at all, but I'm curious what you think.
Yeah, so I like the Eagles here quite a bit, actually. I'm not that high on this Carolina team without Christian McCaffrey. I was saying it last week. They didn't quite come through in the way that we needed them to against Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
Or I guess when I say come through, I mean not come through. They scored too many points.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just feel like this offense is kind of it's been a little bit more efficient than it should be. I think it's I think that I don't like saying that they're due. I'm hesitant to use the word due. But I think that they're going to have a game where they struggle. And I kind of think that this is the one.
Yeah.
I
was just going to say, Nick, anytime, we were discussing this, maybe it was last week, but we said Christian McCaffrey might be worth the most points as a running back towards a team to, of course, the Panthers and all of the NFL. So it is something to just think about, even though he has been out and they've had success. I think that's what you're kind of getting at, right? Where maybe that margin of not having him in kind of shows up in a game like this.
Yeah. So I kind of like the Eagles to take this one outright.
Yeah.
Model, again, has this one as a little bit higher scoring than Vegas thinks it's going to be. It's got about like 25-25 more or less. 25.17 for Philly, 24.7 for Carolina. So about a half a point win for the Eagles and a total of in the 49 to 50 range. Again, I think that the total is kind of good where it's at, but I do agree with you. I lean the Eagles here to cover.
Yeah, I'm happy to put the Eagles down as a lean there.
All right, so next up, we've got the New Orleans Saints and the Washington football team. Washington at home, 2.5 point underdogs. Total set at 43.5. I think that this Saints team is one of the harder teams in the league to kind of understand what they are.
We are what they thought they were but what are they?
But what did we think that they were?
Well, week one, maybe but collectively, you thought the Saints were gonna win a Super Bowl. I mean, right? I mean, think about after they beat the Packers. It's just, isn't it funny? Like, I mean, we say this over and over, but just the week to week narratives in the NFL that you see change.
Yeah, I mean they've had the highest of highs and maybe not quite the lowest of lows, but they've had some lows for sure. That being said, I don't really know how Washington is going to move the ball against them.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
I was just thinking that. Yep.
So Saints' run D is excellent, like we were just talking about with Tampa. Best 2 run defenses in the league. And Antonio Gibson and J.D. McKissic is the focal points for the football team offense. Mm-hmm. Gibson more so on the ground, McKissic more so through the air. But Logan Thomas is out for Washington. Rookie wide receiver Diami Brown is out for Washington. Cam Sims is out for Washington. So that's 3 of their top 5 pass catching options are out, plus going into the best run D in the league. I think they're really going to struggle to move the ball.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Heineke, I like Heineke, but I don't necessarily think that this is a spot where he's gonna go out and win a game.
Yeah, against like you said, a good defense. And Jameis Winston, he's a guy that can kind of catch you off guard and have a huge game, right? Just out of nowhere. And it kind of feels like this could be one of those spots. Maybe I'm falling into the he's due narrative, but I think with him, he's proven that, right? Where he'll have games where he goes for 300 plus yards and no interceptions, or actually, I think it was 186 yards and 4 touchdowns and no interceptions, but
5 touchdowns in week 1.
5. Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, if I'm picking a side here, I have to go with the Saints. I have to, and I know that that's the square public play here.
I mean, I could not give less of a shit what the square public play is, right? If you if you completely ignore all of that, like if you're not taking what the public is doing into account, like does the concept of a public play even exist anymore?
No. It would go away if you're not taking that into consideration.
Yeah, I think it's a social construct.
It is.
Public
it is.
play.
But it's something that it's interesting to just have an understanding of like where the public is looking and seeing if it does move the line at all. But I think in this case that line, for the most part, I think has stayed at that number throughout the week.
Yeah, I'm going to take a quick peek. Well, it actually looks like it opened up as a pick'em. Or look ahead at least was a pick'em.
Yeah, look ahead might have. To my knowledge, I thought it was closer to 2.5 throughout the week, but maybe not.
Let me go look. So it became 2.5 on the 7th, which is Thursday.
And that moved from.
It was 1.5 earlier in the day on Thursday, and on Wednesday.
Oh, okay. All right.
So it has moved in the Saints' favor.
Okay, that does make sense. But a move of 1.5, 2.5. I think it's somewhat significant, but it's not crossing 3. So
yeah, we haven't crossed sneaky numbers.
Mm-hmm. So
yeah, I like New Orleans here too, and so does the model. Again, this is another one where the model has this a little bit higher scoring than Vegas does.
Mm-hmm.
Total of 57-ish as opposed to or not 57, 47 as opposed to the 43.5 that Vegas has. Although I will say, I don't know for sure, but I think that I have some of those wide receivers for Washington in the Sims. I know Logan Thomas is out in the sim, but I think that Sims and Brown may or may not be in. I don't know.
Yeah, I like Saints.
Yeah, I like the Saints. And again,
Not overthinking it.
yeah.
I know you had do you want to give out the prop that you liked, I guess?
Yeah, so didn't make the cut for
'Cause of me,
for
but-
props. We had one. Ben said, I like that one, but not the other ones. I won't spoil what the actual official prop was.
I like it as a lean, but I just it's
It's the type
risky.
of play that you will never ever take.
Me?
Like, yeah, you personally will never ever be on board with a play like that. And I kind of knew it ahead of time. Like it could be the most smash play of all time, and just fundamentally you will say no.
because of the yardage.
Yeah. But the prop that I really liked here was J.D. McKissick under 15.5 rushing yards. And it's a combination of a couple of things. I think that the football team is going to be in a situation where they have to throw the ball quite a bit. And McKissick, he gets like 4 carries a game as is. And he averages under 4 yards a carry. And if you take out his longest run of the year, which I think was like 11 yards, he's averaging more like 3 yards a carry. And now going up against the best run D in the league, I think he would need 5 carries to reliably go over 15.5. And I think that there's just no shot that happens. And I don't think he'll break a big one.
That's the only reason why I was a little worried, because he has broken those, but I know the Saints don't really allow that. So
I mean, this year, though, he hasn't broken those.
I thought he's had 2.
No, his longest carry on the year is like 11 yards.
Well,
But anyways,
yeah, well, it is what it is. But at least
tis what
at least
it
you
is.
got to share it.
Yeah. Not an official play, but a play that I like. So, next game, if you're ready to move on.
I am.
We have the Tennessee Titans and the Jacksonville Jaguars. Also, is the chat broken? Nobody said anything.
Well,
I'm going to
maybe
say something in the chat.
I can say
hi.
something.
I said hi. Actually, one person said something. There was a bot that came in and asked if we wanted to buy followers and be famous.
It's because the game's on, Nick.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, everyone probably is watching the game. T-Cherry was driving. I thank you for being responsible and not looking at your phone while you're
Cherry just
driving.
got in an act. No, just kidding. Fender bender.
There we go.
That's
Everyone's lurking. Yep, Clyde's lurking. Hella's lurking. Hammer the under 15.5, he says. I don't know if hammer is the right adjective or the right verb. It's not an adjective.
Why? Because
Well, I mean, it's like a standard 1-unit play.
I thought you were thinking that because if you said hammer the over, but if it's an under, you can't hammer.
I mean,
No.
you could like be driving a nail up through the bottom of something, right? Like, I don't really know why, but you could.
I like how there's these new terms that it was, hammer. Now there's like smash. There's
Yeah, we're gonna start getting more and more creative, and start like getting into slightly more uncomfortable terms to use.
like bink. When did bink come?
Wait,
a thing?
I've never heard anybody say
Yeah,
bink.
yeah. Bink it, smash it,
Gonna
bink it, book it.
I'm gonna bop this one.
It's
like you're playing Bop It. I'm gonna
Nick,
spin this
I could
one.
literally just start. We should start one, but we have to actually take some time and think about a funny one. And I'll start using it on TikTok and see if I can like spread it.
Yeah,
And then I'll start hearing people use it. And it has to be something we know that no one used before, right?
yeah, we have to come up with our capwise verb
Obliterate. That's too hard. Obliterate. People would
gonna
use
obliterate this play. Could use like eviscerate.
Yeah, bink. See, bink it.
Gonna
Yeah, that's
bink it?
Trent.
Oh, that's a Trent
basically
thing?
Trent. He did exactly what I'm talking about. He infiltrated our minds with the bink
Did he?
use that, though,
Oh,
no.
like and coming up with his own term.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got it. But you see, Bink. It feels it's got like the wrong vibe. It's like Bink.
Yeah. Yeah, like, well.
It's like
That's why I don't use it.
a quarter unit play is a Bink.
Yeah, a little bink, a little sprinkle.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a different type of sprinkle. We need the 1,000 unit whale play word.
Yeah, I'll come up with something.
Yeah. All right, so Tennessee, Jacksonville. Jacksonville, 4.5-point dogs at home. Coming off a game where they looked pretty good, at least in the first half, against Cincinnati on Thursday. Total in this one set at 48.5. So A.J. Brown is in. Julio Jones is out. And I think that makes a big difference for Tennessee here. The passing attack, they just looked like they didn't have it last week. There was just like something missing against the Jets for Tennessee. Mm-hmm. And I really think that losing your top two receivers is what causes that. And even though Julio's out with A.J. Brown back, it's basically now the same receiving core that they had last year. And that was the playoff team last year.
Yeah.
So 4.5 points. I think it's a pretty fair line.
I do too. I think it's fair. I don't have any strong feelings about it. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, I really don't have any strong feelings either.
Titans right now. I know you said they have a very similar team to last year, but something just feels off.
I
them.
agree. Something has felt off about Tennessee for a couple of years. I think.
Yeah,
they're just like a little old school.
Like they should be better. They should be better than they are, but I think it has to do with the offense that they run. But sometimes I think it corners them and puts them in a bad position because when you're so reliant on the run, now it's like, okay, time for a deep shot, but now I don't think they've been doing that a lot this year. And fine, they've had their injuries, but still, you got to find a way to stretch the field.
Yeah, both of these teams.
They did it against the Seahawks, but
yeah, I mean that's the Seahawks.
Yeah,
and they couldn't really do it against the Jets.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, both of these teams make me really uncomfortable. I know people are high on Jacksonville. I don't quite see it. I know that Lawrence has had his flashes, but I mean, what we haven't talked about is all this Urban Meyer shenanigans.
Yeah.
And Citra is saying, curious if they're going to rally around Urban. And I really think it's going to go one of two ways. And I'm with you. I don't think that they will. I think that Urban, it kind of comes off as a bit of a clown.
Mm-hmm. I agree. But, you do have a scenario where, hey, maybe he just somehow says, hey, I've been this and that. And, I need to do a better job and, really gets them fired up. Maybe, but it's a possibility. And that's why this play kind of scares me. Because if Jacksonville won won at home today, I wouldn't really be shocked, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked. I also wouldn't be shocked if they came out and lost by 20.
Yep, absolutely.
So I think this is a good spot to fade.
Yeah.
Also,
Over looks
thank you.
Interesting.
Yeah. Over, I don't trust. It's hard to trust these teams offensively, I think.
Yeah, because if Tennessee gets up, they're just going to run. I mean, they can move the ball by doing that, but then that clock just tick, 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 tick. And then Jacksonville, if they get the ball back and they're down, they're going to try to move quickly. So I guess 48 is a pretty fair number, I would say. 48.5.
Yeah, I think 48.5 is basically right where this should be.
But actually, I take that back. It sounds like you don't like that side, but I don't want to put that as a lean, actually. I want to stay away.
Yeah, I want to fade this game.
Mm-hmm.
Also, thank you, Swanson, for the follow. Appreciate that very much.
Yes, thank you.
Game number 5. We have the Detroit Lions and the Minnesota Vikings. Vikings at home, favored by 10. Over under set at 49.5 right now. And this Lions team, I think, is a lot better than their record and their stats show. I think I've said that a couple weeks in a row at this point. But they are this close. They
Are
have
you a
the
Lions
vibe.
apologist?
What am I apologizing for? No, I'm not a Lions apologist. I'm
Well, they're 1-4.
yeah, they are 1-4. I think that this just has the vibe of a team that's going to start the season like 3-10, and then they're going to win their last 4 games, and they're going to like beat a playoff team and cost somebody a division. That's kind of the vibe I get from this Lions team.
So what's the vibe today?
So I like the Lions in the over here. I think I like the over a little bit more than I like the Lions. Yeah, 0-4, not 1-4.
Oh,
Are you?
0-4,
Do you
yeah.
know something about this game that
Well,
we
they're gonna
don't?
be one. No, I'm just kidding. Whoa.
Whoa!
Well,
Whoa.
what we do know is Dalvin Cook's out, but everyone knows that. So
Yeah, Dalvin Cook is out. Although Madison has played quite well. I mean, he's had to step in several times over the last couple of years as the lead back from Minnesota.
today is not the day, Larry says.
Yeah, but so what did this Lions team do last week? Their first 3 drives against a good Chicago Bears defense, they had first and goal. They fumbled the ball twice, and they had a 4th down conversion failure from 3 straight possessions, first and goal. There's a lot of points that the Lions are leaving on the board. I think fumbles especially are kind of known to be random things. It's not like, aside from a couple cases where people just can't hold on to the ball, fumbles
Hey,
are...
can I stop you there real quick, Nick? Can we actually in the off season? Could you statistically look into that? Because
People already have.
I want to. I want to see you do it though.
You want? Why would I do what other people have already done?
Well, you can do it better.
No, probably not.
All right. So you were saying that fumbles are 100% random.
They're not 100% random, but they're probably like 95 to 98% random. That I
Interesting.
made that number up, but
Okay.
it's
Anyways,
very
continue.
close to completely random.
We won't get too caught up on that. I
Yeah.
want to keep it moving.
But long story short, you shouldn't expect teams that fumbled the ball previously to continue fumbling the ball at a high rate. With interceptions, you expect teams that throw a lot of interceptions to continue throwing a lot of interceptions. Fumbles don't work the same way. So I think that the Lions, I mean, they're gonna put up points here. I think is the moral of the story. And I also think that the Vikings are going to put up points. I think that the Vikings had a really disappointing showing last week against Cleveland. And it feels like I think that they're going to come out guns a-blazing.
Yeah, other than the Cleveland game, all of their games kind of turn into more of a shootout, I would say, kind of feel.
Yeah,
So-
it's not an offense that struggled to move the ball. And the Lions are one of the easiest defenses in the league to move the ball on. So I think this is going to be a high tempo game, and I'm not expecting to see the kind of 4th down failures, the turnovers that plagued the Lions last week. So I like this over quite a bit.
I had this as before I saw the model score, I was thinking, it's probably going to be like 30-24. So
Yeah.
it was pretty close.
So I'll throw down the over as a lean for sure. What about the spread? So who was it? Skin Daddy was saying this opened at 7.5, has been bet up to 10. It feels like a couple too many points. I think 7.5 to 8 kind of feels like the number that I would have put it at. But at the same time, you never know. Like it is very possible that Detroit just goes cold for a quarter or for a half, and that could be the difference.
I'll probably lean with Detroit here, but we can just put down the over for.
No, I think I lean with Detroit as well. So
Okay.
So we'll put down Detroit in the over as our leads.
Detroit money line.
Detroit money line to close off our $750,000 parlay.
Yeah. Oh, I had a good word we could use. The new. Where'd it go? Jab.
Jab. But you see, a jab
you don't think
feels
that's
like
It's not catchy enough.
So are we talking like jab like you're getting a vaccine, you're getting the jab, or are we talking jab like to set up a big uppercut?
Well,
Because I think both of
was
them
thinking the
insinuate a smaller play. So are we looking
Yeah.
for a word like the like for a small play or for the
for
the whale play?
Like a hammer. So okay, maybe we need to go back and figure one out.
We could just say we're gonna jackhammer it.
Jackhammer play?
Yeah, jack. No, that feels. That's not the right word. Anyways, next game, Thor's hammer.
Yep. Ooh, next
Denver.
game.
Yeah, next game, Denver and Pittsburgh. So injuries in this game, just to start it off, have been all over the place. On Monday of last week, it looked like this was going to be a battle between Mason Rudolph and Drew Lock. But it turns out that this is going to be a game between Ben Roethlisberger and Teddy Bridgewater.
Is that even that much better?
It depends on your perspective. Like, better for what?
Well, anytime Drew Lock's not on the field, I think you're just going to get better football. But, Nick, at this point, Ben Roethlisberger is literally playing worse than, of course, I think every starter. But also, I think if you were to list all the quarterbacks and backups, I think he's going to be like 35, 36, to be I'm completely honest. And that's not even an over-exaggeration. It's bad.
Yeah, he's really bad. Although I think that you're underestimating or overestimating some backups. Like, right, so if you made a backup quarterback list, Drew Lock is extremely close to the top of that list. Or, right?
I mean,
he's got to be.
I would say top.
Yeah,
like
he's
4
like
or 5.
he's like top 5 or so, right?
Okay.
Ben is better than Drew Lock, no matter how bad Ben is playing.
That's fair. So those two just cancel each other out, and then we got, we're gonna have one poor quarterback, I guess, and then Bridgewater. But the thing with Bridgewater is, he is healthy, he's playing, but also is he 100%? And I think it's hard to say 100% with a concussion because, if it's an ankle, right, you're like, all right, he's 100%. He can play to his full ability. Concussion's weird, and I don't want to speculate, how is his vision or, is his thinking where, that's
it's just, it's hard. It's much harder to quantify exactly how that's going to impact the gameplay.
Yeah, but what I think it will impact is the running game for Denver.
Oh, really?
And I think Denver is a team that, well, I know this for a fact, not even questioning. They're a team that can run the ball pretty well, and they've done that. And they've been in situations where they were behind, like last week, so they couldn't run the ball. But I think in this one, you're going to expect Denver to really control the ball, control the clock, and for that, if Bridgewater's in, I'm going with Denver. That's my lean in this spot. And Big Ben. I almost would say Mason Rudolph would be an upgrade over Big Ben. I don't even know if that's a hot take or not, but
No, that's Mason Rudolph is bad.
yeah, but at least there's some upside there, Nick.
There's no upside.
I disagree.
There's no upside to Mason Rudolph. Mason
I
Rudolph is
think-
Drew Lock minus Drew Lock's upside.
I disagree.
He's bad.
I'm not
He's-
saying
he's
he's
bad,
great, but we're comparing like we're comparing bad players to bad players.
No, Mason. Ben, you're gonna have to trust me on this one. Mason Rudolph, no matter how bad Ben is playing, Mason Rudolph is a downgrade.
I don't know.
I know. I lived in Pittsburgh when Mason Rudolph got some significant run. I watched like all the games. He's bad.
All right. Well, regardless, Big Ben's bad too, and he's in, and
Yes.
Roethlisberger's better. So I like the Broncos. It's a pick 'em right now.
No, I'm seeing Broncos minus 1.5.
Oh, it was a
Line's
pick 'em. Okay, that's
probably
right.
been all over the place. Just with all the
That's
injury
right,
news.
because Bridgewater was announced. That went up. But also, Cortland Sutton, ankle injury, game time, I believe. And
yeah, although
then
they have to
you
have announced
also-
that by now.
Oh, yeah. Okay, you look that up, and then I'll share the other ones. And then you also have Ronald Darby, I think, is back for the Broncos.
Yeah, I
He's
saw that
off
they
IR.
activated him off IR. But
Which is
Darby is inactive this week.
So he's inactive.
Yeah.
Shucks.
Sutton is in though.
Sutton's in. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm leaning Denver, and the total, I have no clue what's going to happen there. So
It feels low. It's only 39.
I mean-
there's no weather in this game. It's 75 with like a 5-mile-an-hour breeze, and partly cloudy.
can the Steelers move the ball?
I think that they can dink and dunk the ball.
Yeah,
I don't-
and the
I don't-
margin, the margin for error with a under 39 it's pretty slim, right? Like without weather.
Yeah.
I mean, one pick six. Like if I could tell you that there's a pick six in this game, would you take the over? Like pretty
Easily.
blindly.
I probably blindly take literally any over if you guarantee me that there's going to be a pick six.
Yeah. So. And the reason why I bring that up is because I actually think the Broncos are a team that can force a defensive turnover and lead to a score.
Yeah, and I
mean,
think
I
the
guess-
Steelers are also.
Yeah, Steelers. So, man, I kind of becoming a fan of this over.
Yeah. I kind of like the over as well.
And when you say there's no weather, no wind,
Like I
Sunny skies.
looked this morning.
yeah.
I
So
s-
you know in Heinz Field where they have like, oh, the field goal kickers can't kick over 55 yards. That's typically due to the swirling winds and all that good stuff, right?
Yeah. I mean, that probably still happens even with more minor wins.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So should we lean with the Broncos and the over? Or just the over?
Let's go Broncos and over.
Let's go Broncos. Feels like a weird game though. Like
It does. Yeah, Larry, they're playing in a vacuum in outer space. There's literally no atmosphere.
he can kick a 700-yard field goal.
Except that
Wait
the snap went way over the over the holder's head.
Larry, wait till Elon Musk starts like a civilization on the moon, and then the home field advantage will be crazy because there's like gravity, we have to inflate the line by 20 points.
They're not used to playing in the other team's gravity.
Yeah. What's the altitude up there? Yeah.
40,000 feet.
All right, you got to stop because
Above.
I'll keep going with
There's
that.
but there is no sea level because there's no water.
Yeah. Oh man, Elon Musk is like high on the sideline. He's like, dude, this is awesome, man.
Getting season tickets, yeah, me too. All right, so next up, the game that I think a lot of people are curious about. Also, somebody had an interesting boost that I want to touch on in a second. Where'd it go? Ian. Boost on FanDuel for every team to score a touchdown. Plus 300.
Because it just looks like a no-brainer yes, right?
Yeah.
But someone, somewhere, somehow.
Houston. It's going to be in Houston.
I actually think it's not going to be. It's going to be a one-off game where we're like the Bears and
there's just going to be like a quarterback that gets hurt or or a team that has bad red zone execution.
So
like
what's the
you
boost
need
from what to what?
Well, I don't know how could possibly price this, right? Like the before boost, does that mean it's the accurate number? Absolutely not.
No. That's why these boosts are just tricky to begin with, because they're already giving you, I guess, minus EV, as you say, like odds, and then they're boosting that. So maybe it does cross that threshold, but it's like, in theory, is it really that much of a boost, or are you basically just a coin flip?
Yeah.
And if not, how do you determine it's yeah. So
yeah, I mean, so
Go
basically
ahead,
you need all. So what's the time frame? Is that every game today? Because that also makes a big difference. Because if it's the early window only, I mean, that's a difference of like 10 teams needing to score a touchdown, which is massive.
Yeah, you would probably take that.
All right. Anyways, Green Bay and Cincinnati. We're looking at.
I like a pick in this one.
Cincinnati plus 3. Although I think actually this is my plus 2.5 now for Cincinnati. So let me make that adjustment, because that is an important distinction to make. Total set at 50.5. So Ben, you seem ready to talk about this one. What are your thoughts?
I like the Bengals, Nick. I like the Bengals, but I liked it a lot at plus 3. So now at 2.5, I don't love it as much, but I still think the Bengals are in a pretty good spot here. It's a home game. I think it's their second game. It just seems like a spot where the Bengals are a team that actually has looked decent from the eye test perspective. I know they've played the Steelers and the Jags the last 2 games, so there is a little bit of concern, I guess, on my end, just with the quality of opponents, and then they lost to the Bears before that. But I mean, they beat the Vikings week 1, which I know was in overtime, but still got the job done, and it just seems like a home spot for them. So maybe it's a lot of my intuition here, but also I feel like the model has this as a close game, correct?
Correct. So the model has this one as a 1.5 point game. And this also is not counting. So the model doesn't take individual defensive players into account. And the Packers are missing some important ones. Namely, Jair Alexander, who is going to be out for this game. And T. Higgins is back for Cincinnati. And Joe Mixon is playing.
Joe Mixon's in, and we were talking about this, Nick. Pirine, he's looked really. So, regardless if Mixon was in, I know it's hard to say, well, how could you like the Bengals if Mixon's out? But Pirine's been playing well, and they're both in. So
yeah, I mean, and Chris Evans is playing well in that third down back catch and passes role.
Yeah,
not a whole lot of action.
And surprisingly, Nick. The offensive line for the Bengals has actually been decent, which from last year was such a concern, and they passed up on Sewell in the draft, where people were like, what are you guys doing drafting another wide receiver? And it's actually, so far, it's worked out. I know we're only 4 games in, but we'll see.
Yeah, I think that this Bengals team is legit. I think it's a really talented team. So at home as dogs, I like Cincy here. I don't really have any thoughts on the total in this one.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you about that, but I'm probably staying away because I guess the model has this as basically 47-ish. So.
Yeah, like 47.5. So I probably do lean under. It feels a little bit weird that this one is 50.5, looking at some of the other numbers for this week. Like, I don't think that this is going to be... Well, I guess there are defensive players missing, which is important. We were just talking about that. So maybe that's the reason why the total's a little higher. But I'm happy to just take Cincy as a lean. You good with that?
I'm good with that, yeah.
Yeah, oh, and Chris was saying earlier, why are Packers minus 140 over the Bengals? Yeah, I think this feels like it should be more of a pick'em type game.
I mean, maybe to you, Nick, but I've talked to but I've seen a lot of people say that this is a no-brainer to take the Packers. So,
well, I mean, do those people have brains, right? If it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, this seems like a huge trap spot, and I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see.
I like the Bengals. I think it's a good spot for the Bengals.
Agreed. So next up, we've got the New England Patriots and the Houston Texans. Houston at home, 8-point underdogs. Total set at 39. I'm going to say right off the bat, I believe that the model is overestimating how these teams are going to do. Houston both teams, yeah. And probably especially Houston. Houston is big bad. It's just like a lack of talent on the entire team, especially with Davis Mills in. I mean, I really think that Tyrod Taylor was the glue. There, I mean, he got the offense clicking, and now without Taylor, there's just like something that defenses can do that makes it super easy for them.
But the Patriots, Nick, I think they have 3 offensive linemen out.
Yeah, Seacher is saying 4 out.
4, yeah. There's a lot of variance with all that because it's hard to really quantify what that means. But cluster injuries are never a good thing. So,
are you sure about that? Have the Broncos had any experience with position groups suffering injuries together?
Yeah, ask Hinton about last year.
Yeah, wide receiver Kendall Hinton. So yeah, that's typically not good, missing 4 of your starting offensive linemen. I mean, it could be worse. They could be missing all 5, but
yeah,
that's not a high bar for good news.
So they just bringing up some practice squad players?
No, they signed Kendall Hinton. Kendall Hinton's going to play left tackle.
Hey, he has experience jumping in and
he's a true gadget player.
Time to prepare. Yeah. So I think this one, Nick, surprisingly, this may shock you, but I do lean Houston, but totally understand if you are not on board with that because of all the shit going on.
Yeah, so I probably lean Houston as well, but I don't want to actually put down Houston as a lean, if that makes sense. Just because,
100%.
like I have to see them put it together once with Mills at quarterback, even
this
for like a half.
This seems like it's going to be like a 21-14 game.
Yeah, it's going to be
scoring.
It's going to be something.
Yeah.
So I'm going to slap a fade on this one.
But hey, Davis Mills actually hasn't played bad. We've discussed this, but I think the biggest concern for the Texans is their head coach. I don't think he's gonna last. I honestly would be shocked if he stays around past a year. I think like they've had so many questionable decisions already where people are like, "Yo, kicking a field goal versus going for it versus punting, you're literally picking the one decision that's actually giving you a less percent chance to win the game," and he's done that multiple times.
Yeah. Also, can we talk about Davis Mills? So he looked okay against Carolina. It looked like the play calling was holding him back. Last week against Buffalo, Ben, have you seen his stat line from that game?
Well, he had no time to throw the ball.
He was 11 for 21 for 87 yards, no touchdowns and 4 interceptions, and he was sacked 3 times.
Yeah, well, I honestly don't think he's as bad as that stat line is. I know it's hard to defend someone coming off 4 interceptions,
and
but
he had as many interceptions as he did yards per pass attempt.
Who was that quarterback last year? No, it wasn't last year. It was like 4 years ago where he had 4 interceptions in one. Was that in one half?
I think it was 5 actually, or maybe 4.5, 5 in the game. But Nathan Peterman is like the bar for bad quarterback play.
Yeah. What is Davis Mills prop at for receiving yards?
For receiving yards, probably 0.
Okay. And what about passing yards?
What about passing yards?
0.5.
Davis Mills passing yards 186.5.
I was gonna guess 187. That's hilarious.
I mean,
But
it's actually a
Patriots
sneaky
defense.
spot. So Stephon Gilmore is not on the Patriots anymore. We have to remember that.
Yeah.
I'm rolling.
187.
I'm rolling out Brandon Cooks in fantasy. I think.
Yeah. Get 1 touchdown at his price, you're gonna get value.
Well, no,
there.
this is in like season long fantasy.
Oh, not DFS. I thought you were going. I was like, whoa, that's a
No. Side
that's a
note, I'm
GPP play.
getting hoed again, facing Robert Woods this week. The 1 week he finally pops off.
fucking pops up.
But yeah, I think. Long story short, I think this is a fade spot.
Also, there's a stat that has been rolling around about Bill Belichick against rookie QBs. Kind of interesting.
Yeah,
He's
I mean that's
done
been
really
rolling
well against
around
them.
for years.
Yeah. Also, how much of that actually is just Bill Belichick is a good schemer versus it's a rookie? Or do you actually think there's more to that?
I think it's a couple things. I think one, the Patriots' record just against teams in Bill Belichick's tenure is good, right? Like you can place whatever kind of quantifiers on those teams that you want. Belichick just plays well against them. Rookie quarterbacks also are typically lower end quarterbacks, at least in the present moment. Obviously, everybody was a rookie at some point, but as rookies, typically quarterbacks are not all that great. So it is I think it cherry picked in a way. I mean, it's not cherry picked in like the trend hacking kind of way that stuff gets cherry picked, but
Yeah.
I think it's cherry picked for good team plays well against bad players. Like no shit, right?
Yeah. Also, Nick, I guess there could be something there with how you have to scheme against a rookie quarterback because you don't have as much film on the guy. But at the same time,
But I mean, that makes it sound like the rookie's better than a guy like that you know he's good, right? Is it easier to
Yeah.
scheme against a rookie who's probably not all that great, or is it easier to scheme against Aaron Rodgers? But you have a lot of film on Rodgers.
right. I think that's the issue because if you're scheming against a rookie quarterback in weeks 1 through 3, that's completely different than weeks 14 through 16 because now you have all this film on the guys. So that's what I was getting at with this stat, right? I don't know how much it really means. So, anyways,
I
there's a
think
lot.
all of the
going
film
on in this-
on Davis Mills is just him getting pressured.
Yeah. So maybe we should just blitz the guy. Good idea.
Just sack him, forehead.
Yeah, just sack him and we'll win. Go team, go. Put Kendall Hinton out there on cornerback.
All right, so I think we spent enough time on that game. Next up, we've got Chicago and Vegas. Vegas at home favored by 5.5 points, over under set at 45.5.
I have no clue about this game, to be honest. I don't know what to expect, so I'm gonna need some help.
Okay, I like the Raiders. I've been on the record as a Justin Fields detractor, hater. I don't want to use the word hater. I got nothing against the guy. Aside from the fact that I don't think he's a good quarterback. So Justin Fields this year has dropped back to pass a lot of times. So he's got 52 pass attempts. He's been sacked 12 times. So that's 64 plus 17 rush attempts. So he's like 81 snaps at quarterback where he didn't hand the ball off to running back. How many passing touchdowns does he have?
Does he have one?
No, the answer is zero.
He has 0. Wow.
He has 0. Justin Fields has as many career passing touchdowns as you and I do.
That is true. He might get his first one today, Nick.
He might get his first one today. Yeah, Nagy isn't in charge of the play calling. That's true. But I think that a big source of their success last week was, one, it was the Lions. Two, like we talked about with the Lions earlier, they had 3 turnovers from first and goal drives on back-to-back-to-back drives to start the game. David Montgomery was the big source of offense for the Bears, and he's out today. So you've got
Good point.
Backup running back Damian Williams. You've got a quarterback who's like incapable of throwing the ball down the field. I don't think the Bears are going to be able to do a whole lot.
Yeah.
Well, and I think Fields was sacked a couple times replacing Dalton, and then sacked 9 times, and then sacked once. Not that like that makes it any better. I think my point isn't so much about the sacks; it's about the lack of passing production. Like I think if the Bears are in a situation where they have to pass the ball, it's not going to be pretty.
So I will say though that I do like the angle though with the Bears on the road. I think that's a team that at home I feel a lot more comfortable with, regardless of quarterback play. So the Raiders at home, I do have some confidence in them, but the total though, I don't really know what to expect here.
Yeah, I don't want to touch the total.
Raiders could put up 28, 30 points. Bears could put up 17, right?
Yeah, and full disclosure, I'm super anti-Bears. I have Raiders defense both in season-long fantasy and in DFS today.
So leaning Raiders.
Leaning Raiders. Not going to touch the total. I think that a lot of the total comes down to just how the Bears' ground attack goes. I mean, Damian Williams is certainly not a bad running back, but I mean, he's also not a guy who's proven to be a consistent bell cow in the way that they used Montgomery successfully last week. So yeah, like the Raiders, staying away from the total. Long story short. Not a lot of total leans for us this week.
No, not really, which is a little surprising, I guess.
Yeah, it's unusual. Most of the stuff that we
still
have
have
is
3 games.
game-wise. Yeah, that's
4
true.
games.
So the next game,
Here come 4 totals for you.
Cleveland and the LA Chargers. Chargers 2.5-point favorites at home. Total set at 47. You're the big Chargers fan here. So what's your take?
Well, hey, I'm a Broncos fan. Stop that. But I like Justin Herbert.
Yeah, I mean, I was a Ravens fan and given a lot of props to the Bengals earlier. You could do the same with the Chargers.
These are 2 really good teams, in my opinion.
Any worries about Baker Mayfield and his shoulder?
There is. So this is his non-throwing shoulder, correct?
Yes.
But still, it sounds like it's actually affecting his throwing. And I mean, if something gets painful enough, like you can't just have like a fractured left shoulder and you're like, oh, it's not my throwing shoulder.
Yeah, I mean,
like at some point,
it's not like your other shoulder is completely immobile and stationary when you make a throw.
Exactly. If you throw a 20, 30, 40-yard pass, like you're still working your body.
You turn, and moving that shoulder is part of generating the momentum for the throw.
Yeah, and also there's a second part. Actually, there's 2 more parts to this. One, or I should say 2, is in the pocket, right? Do you feel comfortable, or are you like, oh shit, like I don't want to get hit? And then guys just curl up into a ball, right? And then 3, it's the lack of him rushing, right? I don't think has he even attempted a rush the last few games? Other than, I think there might have been not a sneak though. I don't think.
Let me
he's
take
not,
a quick peek.
They're not running designed runs for him, and they're also hoping he doesn't roll out and scramble unless it's green grass and green pastures, because he cannot afford to take a hit.
Yeah. I mean, so he does have 6 carries for 42 yards in the last 2 weeks. So those are the 2 full games since the injury. Although I don't know if that's like he was able to get out of bounds cleanly without any contact. Yeah, I would assume so.
Wow, I'm actually shocked to hear that. But maybe it was a scenario where he could run for 15 yards and no one was around him. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's got to stay healthy, and I guess my concern is just if he took a big hit, but I'm not too concerned there. I just think that this game, though, it's against a defense that's been playing well, and I think Justin Herbert is creeping up into a top 5 quarterback, to be completely honest. So I have to lean with the over, and I have to lean with the Charger.
Yeah, so let me get the model score up here real quick. Clicked on the wrong game. There it is. I definitely like the Chargers. I am a little bit worried about the Browns offensively. Mm-hmm. And the other thing that worries me is the tempo. Kind of like what we saw in last week's game against the Raiders for the Chargers. Like, the Chargers are very good at grinding clock, even early in the game. Mm-hmm. Not a lot of deep plays, but a lot of consistent moving the chains. Mm-hmm. And it can kind of sneakily kill overs and sneakily kill props. Mm-hmm. And that combined with potential not being 100% from Baker Mayfield does scare me a little bit with the total.
Yeah. And Nick, I think the reason you're seeing that is head coach for the Chargers. I think he's Staley, right? I think he's a pretty brilliant head coach, in my opinion. I think he's a guy who I think he understands the game well, and he, a guy like Herbert, right? I kind of compare it to the Bills and Josh Allen. Like, yeah, of course he could be a guy who goes and throws for 40, 45 yards, but if they feel like they can control the clock and control the game, they're not going to do so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so if you like the Chargers though, or the over, I'm happy to put that down.
Yeah,
as a lead.
I'm feeling good with both those, so I'm happy.
All right. So next game, we've got the New York Giants and the Dallas Cowboys. Cowboys 7-point favorites at home. over-under set at 52.5. This one's a little tough for me.
Okay, Nick, what was your concern last week with the Giants?
So my concern last week with the Giants was Sterling Shepard and Darius Slayton being out, and that kind of having a negative impact on the Giants' passing attack. But it kind of almost had the opposite effect.
I know.
So both of those guys are like interior slot receiver types. And I think Daniel Jones might have been using them as a crutch. So a lot of shorter passing attempts. And then last week with Kadarius Toney and John Ross in elevated roles, Daniel Jones was slinging the ball downfield. And he threw for like 400 yards. And they won the game. So, I mean, do I think Daniel Jones is going to have success today? Yes, I do.
Yes.
Do I think that it's going to be enough for the Giants to cover? I have no idea, because that depends on the defensive performance also. And the Cowboys' offense is a well-oiled machine.
My lean is with the Giants +7, but I'm kind of on the fence as to put this down because, yeah, fine, they looked good last week without those guys, but that was 1 week, right? Like, I think we have to be careful, right? Just to say that that's going to be something that they replicate. So, yeah, I think we should stay away from at least the side.
I think it's a fade spot all the way around.
Okay.
That's my opinion. I think 52.5 is too high to go over. And I really don't feel comfortable taking it under.
This feels like a backdoor cover for the Giants, doesn't it?
Yeah, I could kind of see that. Definitely backdoor cover territory.
Yeah. Daniel Jones running for like a late touchdown.
And yeah, Larry, you're
Something
completely
crazy.
right. I'm torn between my love for Jones and being a closet Cowboy fan.
You can feel it, huh? Yeah.
I mean, I'm high on the whole NFC East. I think it's a lot of good teams. Might be controversial, or a lot of underrated teams. We'll say. No top tier teams, but
hey, across the board, that would be a fun tier list, Nick, to come up with the best team from each division. Like, you can pick all the players and make an all-star team.
that'd be pretty fun.
That would be fun. Congratulations to the Falcons, I guess. They won 27-20. I say I guess because it's the Jets and it just was a weird, ugly game. But hey, a win's a win.
Yeah, I mean, Tennessee couldn't do it last week.
Hey, shout out Falcons, 2-3.
Yeah.
No, I mean, hey, you're back in the hunt. Just saying.
Not in that division, not
Okay.
really.
Well, they're gonna have to get a wild card, but hey, no Ridley though, no Russell Gage. That's an impressive win, I would say.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, if that was a 1:00 Eastern game, Pitts and Zacchaeus definitely would have been in the DFS lineup contention.
Oh my gosh, for most played player.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, and for my lineup.
Yeah, but I think Pitts, right?
Oh yeah, Pitts. Everybody would have been all over Pitts.
So for the Millie Maker, they don't have this early game in.
No.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So we have 2 games left, and I'm going to take a quick look at T Cherry's lineup
Okay.
before games start. Also. We got 2 games left. San Francisco and Arizona is the next one. Arizona 5-point favorites at home. Total set at 48.5. And again, I'm gonna put this out there right off the bat. Trey Lance in at quarterback. Model is definitely or maybe not underestimating, but just doesn't know what to make of Trey Lance.
No respect to Trey Lance as a FCS football player. That's what it is, huh, Nick?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Well, I think what it actually is he came in and played like enough snaps for the model to see that he existed and like had some data on him. But in those very, very few snaps, he didn't play all that well, stat-wise. So it thinks he's worse than he probably actually is. It's hard to tell for sure exactly how good Trey Lance is. I mean, he's got 3 touchdowns on 10 completions this year, which is good. He's got 162 yards on 10 completions this year, which is really good. But is any of that sustainable? No. And he's only completing like 50% of his passes. So in a full game,
this should be a fade.
with time for the Cardinals to scheme against him, I think it's a lot of uncertainty. I agree that this is a good fade spot.
Yeah, I think we should fade, and I mean, I'd lean with the Cardinals, but yeah, I don't like the spot as far as trying to figure out like what Trey Lance is going to do out there. So
yeah, we're at the point in the season where we have a lot of teams where we've seen them play in their current situations, and the Niners are just not there.
Yep.
So last game that I'm really looking forward to watching: Buffalo and Kansas City. Kansas City 3-point favorites at home. Over under set at 56 and a half.
So are you still showing a -3?
I was when I set this up.
I'm just curious. I thought I was 2.5. Which is really interesting, Nick, because we've discussed this over and over about the Chiefs and how they've just been the public darling.
I'm still showing 3s, Ben. I see 2.5 on BetMGM, 2.5 on Circa, and 3s everywhere else.
Okay, so let's take a look here. I think this may finally have been a game where the public has just cut off of the
Yeah, well, so do you have those numbers?
Yeah, I'm pulling them up right now. Sometimes the late night game they don't get until the evening,
Yeah,
but
I'm sure
I
a ton of everybody's going to
something-
take all the money that they won in the early games and put it on this one. So I think this line is definitely still
Let me see
liable
if
to
I can
both.
find it.
I wouldn't worry about it.
So it looks like
Unless you got it. All right.
the Bills are getting roughly, this is from yesterday, 57% of the bets and money. So, man, this might be the first game. If this is correct, I think the first game in probably 10 or maybe even 12 games where the Chiefs weren't the majority team getting the handle. So I don't know if that means, if anything, but it is interesting, right? Because we've talked time and time again how no matter what the Chiefs do, it seems that, or who they're playing, or what the number is, Chiefs. And it's kind of funny how Chiefs are at home and the favorite, but they're not that team this time around.
Yeah. I mean, the Bills are really good.
They are.
That's all I got to say about that. So the model actually has the Bills winning this game by almost 4 points, despite it being in Kansas City. And I think that 57% of the money, that's not going to move you off a key number. So I think this is just going to sit at 3 the whole time.
Yeah, it should.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know if I feel comfortable saying that I lean Bills, despite what the model says. Maybe I do. I don't. If you say that the public is on Buffalo, so this is the spot to take the Chiefs, I'm going to drive to your house and slap you.
What if it's at 2.5?
If it's at 2.5, it would make more sense, but I still kind of like the Bills.
I would lean with the Chiefs at 2.5, but I don't know. I say we fade this, Nick.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is a good fade spot. Two marquee teams, two extremely talented teams. It's going to come down to execution as opposed to any kind of talent gap. So, yeah, I guess that wraps up the game discussion. So, Ben, what is your favorite or what is your best bet for today's games?
Okay, question. Is yours going to be a prop or a side?
Mine is going to be a side.
Okay. I'm actually going to go with the Lions and the Vikings over 49.5.
I like it. And for my favorite play today, I'm going to go with the the Las Vegas Raiders minus 5.5 against Chicago.
I like it. Anti-Justin Fields play.
Anti-Justin Fields play.
Dome. Mm-hmm. There it is.
Dome. We're gonna dome this play.
Yeah, that's catchy. Kids will love it.
I like. You said that, and I was thinking the same thing, and then you said like, oh, that's the word.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man, this stuff spreads like wildfire, and then all of a sudden, everyone's using it, and you're like,
All right, so I'm gonna pull up T Cherry's DFS lineup because I said that I would. So let me save that, add a new image, add new source, browse. There it is. Boom.
all right, let's see this thing.
Okay, so what site is this?
That's funny. I've seen it before. Can't think of it.
Anyways, Kirk Cousins. I like it. James Conner. I don't know how I feel about Conner. So, I think... he needs touchdowns.
Upside, though.
There's touchdown upside. And if the Cardinals get out to a huge lead, then Connor's going to get a lot of the carries. Mm-hmm. I think if it's a closer game, Edmonds is going to get a bulk of the work. Derrick Henry, expensive but solid play. Jacoby Myers, I like it. I think he's Mac Jones' favorite target in that offense. Houston's D is pretty meh. Justin Jefferson, stack with Cousins. I like it. I don't know why, but I kind of feel like it's going to be an Adam Thielen day and not a Jefferson day. I have no reason to back that up, but that's just like a gut feeling. Also, T-Chair, you probably want to throw that. Oh, unless you're trying to post that in the premium chat, basically nobody's going to see your squad ride post. We got a lot of M. Williams.
Every M. Williams is in his lineup today.
Yeah, Mike and Max. Max with 2 X's. I like. There's like a 50% chance that Max Williams' mom is named Karen. At least. So Mike against Cleveland is a solid play. I'm not a huge Mike Williams fan. And I think that this, like I was saying earlier, I think it's going to be a little bit of a slower game. And then Max, I don't like the negative correlation between Max Williams and James Conner.
Yeah.
Without taking like the full Cardinals stack.
Mm-hmm.
Kendrick Bourne, kind of same deal with Jacoby Myers. I don't like the negative correlation. Panthers D against Philly.
Well, we know how you feel about that one, Nick.
Yeah, I don't like that one. But hey, that's just my opinion. I'm not the oracle here.
Hey, you get one pick six and probably gonna do well. So that's all it takes.
Ben, did you make a DFS lineup this week?
I forgot to. I was gonna, but
I made
just didn't get it.
I have a DraftKings lineup.
But my fantasy teams season long have been crushing it, so got that going for me.
The league is pissing
Crushing
me off.
Crushing it from the standpoint that I have more wins than losses. Hey, that's how I think that's a fundamental issue with traditional fantasy football.
I agree.
But I think teams in leagues are starting to find ways to fix that. And what I'm speaking to is if you're a team like Nick who has a top 5 score every week, but ends up playing one of the other top 5 teams, it's not really fair when a team like myself has like a bottom 10 twice and wins. So but hey,
it be like that.
it does happen that way sometimes. So all right, Nick, I have to hop off and the games are about to start. So any last word?
No, I got no last words. I guess good luck on the bets today. Thank you, everybody, as always, for being here. Let's go watch some football.
Let's do it.
4:30 Mountain, 6:30 Eastern tomorrow. Monday Night Football, picks and props.
Yep, we will see you there.
Yeah. All right, later,
All right,
everyone.
guys. See ya.